Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I am Ryan Bolin. Thank you all for joining me. So, podcaster, if you want to call it a controversial podcaster, however way you want to spin that, Candace Owens is in deep water with a lot of people because on her podcast, she essentially made the accusation that the experiments conducted by Dr. Joseph Mengele, the Nazi doctor from the concentration camps, and the horrible experiments that he performed on his prisoners was just propaganda. Okay, yeah. Now, this article I'm about to read you guys is from a leftist news source. I think it's New York Post. So when I read this, I did not take it as actual fact all the way, if you will, because you know how the left is. From my experience has been that they tend to omit certain things to spin their own narrative, okay? They ain't anything anyone on the right has to say. It's all wrong, it's whatever. But anyway, let's get right into this article because I'm going to give you my opinion on this, and I'm going to give you, and that's why I don't go too far with this. I don't want to give you too much of it right now, but that's why I'm an independent conservative, and I may explain that in another video in detail. But yeah, let's get right into this article and let's see what they have to say about this, okay? Let's see how they spin this. But controversial podcaster Candace Owens sparked fresh accusations of anti-Semitism. Here we go. So you know that's the left because they're the only ones that yak anti-Semitism, right? If you criticize the Jews in any way, you're considered anti-Semitic, After calling the gruesome, kind of like when you criticize black people, no matter what the things they're doing, no matter how negative, if you criticize them, you're racist. After calling the gruesome medical experiments performed during the Holocaust by notorious Nazi Dr. Joseph Mengele, quote, bizarre propaganda. Owens, who parted ways with Daily Wire earlier this year after reportedly feuding with co-founder Ben Shapiro over Israel and anti-Semitism, launched into her head-scratching Holocaust debacle during her podcast Tuesday. And apparently, this is what she said. The Nazi experimented on innocent people, Owens began. Some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd. Now, anybody could take that out of context. But anyway, let's go on. They just cut a human up and sewed them back together, she wondered. Why would they do that? Let's go on. Let's hear what he got to say. Let's see what this article got to say. Owens went on to say that, quote, literally, even if you're the most evil person in the world, that's tremendous waste of time and supplies. That just sounds like bizarre propaganda, she concluded. But who's to say if you listen to I didn't hear the podcast, okay? But knowing the left like I know the left, how they take small snippets out and make it sound like something it isn't, saying something like that just sounds like bizarre propaganda may be a part of a bigger picture. She may say that just sounds like bizarre propaganda, right? But it's not propaganda. They actually did these things. Who knows, okay? Owens apparently disregarded the well-documented atrocities conducted by, how they wrote this was terrible, conducted by Mengele, the SS physician who earned the moniker the Angel of Death for his gruesome experiments on inmates at Nazi concentration camps, including Auschwitz. Historians and researchers of the Holocaust have reported that Mengele conducted experiments on twins by amputating their limbs as well as blood transfusions, forcefully injecting them with diseases as well. Candace Owens insisted that the Holocaust and Mengele's self-documented twin experiments are actually propaganda. Hard to go much lower than this. This is what someone said on Twitter, I guess, in response to this. Social media users blasted Owens. Owens, quote, continuing to prove that she is one of the dumbest and most vile human beings on the planet, one ex-user wrote. Obviously, this is somebody from the left. This is clearly someone from the left. These people they're the only ones that would say that too. But no, I'm not going to say it. Let me take that back. I've seen some people from the right say it. I have said it. I have said it, to some people, but then some people are, okay? All right. I would never have guessed she had the quote, the ability to sink this low, another commentator posted. And then it goes on, but a source close to the situation told the Post that Owens, quote, never denied that Mangala conducted experiments. This is a misleading edited clip, the source said. It probably is. In fact, if you listen to the full episode, there we go, you will hear that Candace condemned medical experiments. The Post has sought comments from Owens. Owens posted a response on X in which she lashed out at her critics. She posted a longer clip from her podcast in which she also discussed a BBC documentary about the killing and displacement of millions of ethnic Germans in Eastern and Central Europe in the immediate aftermath of World War II. The reason why this particular episode is so detrimental to Zionism is because they have polluted American minds to believe that we must defend Israel out of morality and the evils of the Holocaust. Learning about how many people who committed Holocaust and mass murders were. So it goes on, it goes on in different things. I'm not going to read all of that. You can go to the, I think it's New York Post, and read the rest of this. But this is essentially what she supposedly said. And let me say right up front, look, if this is accurate, so I'm not going to make any judgment calls. I'm going to simply say, if this is accurate, and she actually has denied these atrocities permitted upon the Jews, but not just the Jews, but other people who were non-Germans, okay? It wasn't just Jews that Joseph Mangala conducted these horrible experiments on these people. It were other people that were non-Germans, okay? If in fact this is true of what she has said and she has denied it, that I have to disagree with. But I can't make that judgment because this is coming from a left-leaning news source where they tend to take out clips and snippets of people's conversation and then create an entire narrative off of that's based on lies and true misinformation. So I can't make a judgment on that, okay? I can't make a judgment on that. The left, from my experience and observations, is known for that. They always do it. They never show the whole story. They always take clips out, okay? They try to spin a narrative that's based on lies on their side. And I'm always there to expose them, okay? But if this is true, let's assume that this is true, okay? Let's assume it's true that she's denying these horrible experiments on Jews and others in the concentration camps conducted by Joseph Mangala, the angel of death, okay? Well, I have many sources, particularly Paul McGuire and others, that state that these things were done. Joseph Mangala was, according to some sources, into the darkest forms of Satanism. Okay? Yes, I'm not talking about all. There are some Satanists that say they don't believe in Satan. That's just a symbol. They believe in critical thinking and rationalization, and Satanism is just a symbol. Why you use Satanism as a symbol, I don't know why. I mean, why not use God, the God of the Bible? God is all about critical thinking and rationality and rational thought because he's the one that created it. He's the ultimate rational mind. But anyway, but then you have some that are into the old form of Satanism. They go back thousands of years to ancient Babylon, in which they conducted some of the most horrific experiments in human history on the little ones in order to receive power from Satan. This is what they believe. This is what they did. According to some researchers and according to some sources, this is what Joseph Mangala was into. He was into the darkest forms of black magic and Satanism. So if that's the case, that being the case, it would make sense for him to just, hey, let me just take some human beings, cut them up, and then sew them back together again just to see what happens. I mean, you're in the deepest forms of Satanism. Satan is pure, unadulterated evil. Pure, unadulterated evil does what it does because why? It's pure, unadulterated evil. It's evil for evil's sake. It's suffering for suffering's sake. It's shedding blood for shedding blood's sake. That's what pure evil does. Okay, so the idea, if her accusations is correct, and if these words are correct, which I highly doubt is taken out of context, but assuming that it's true, that she denies these atrocities, I would have to disagree with her on that front. Because according to many other researchers, this man was pure evil. Pure evil. And he was trying his best to create a master race. He was trying his best to create a master race. This is what Hitler wanted him to do. They were into the deepest forms of the occult and black magic and Satanism. And they were willing to do whatever they needed to do in order to see that their goals were fulfilled, if you will. Okay? These things did happen. But to critique, criticize a specific group of people for something that you believe that they're doing is immoral and wrong is not being against that group necessarily. You just critiquing them or criticizing something and disagreeing with something that they may be doing that you feel is wrong. You're not putting the group down. You're not putting the person down. You're not putting their ethnicity down. You're just critiquing or criticizing a negative aspect that they are doing that you believe is wrong. So to say that she's anti-Semitic is a bunch of nonsense. However, if she denied that, then no. Because as the article says, it says that the source that combated this accusation that she was denying these experiments conducted by Joseph Mengele essentially stated that no, that was taken out of context. She is against these horrible experiments. If you really look at it, it could be, like I said earlier in the introduction to this video, it could be that she said, well, you know what? These are horrible things, and it's beyond impossible to believe that someone would do something so horrible. Who would do something like that? And then she could have added in the podcast, because I didn't hear the podcast, she could have added in the podcast, I'll tell you who could do something like that, Joseph Mengele. Because Joseph Mengele was an evil person of the lowest kind. He was deeply involved in Satanism. Now, going back to the idea of me being an independent conservative, that's why this is really the answer, the objective of someone who made a comment in the comment section box about me being an independent conservative and it didn't make sense, woo, 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 woo. Well, I'm an independent conservative because I don't agree with all conservatives like they don't agree with me. So I just decided to call myself an independent conservative. I still believe in a conservative platform, but I also believe in what people deem to be conspiracy theories, which I don't think they are. I believe in the New World Order. Okay. I believe in the people trying to create a master race. I believe that there's a coming man called the Antichrist, and from the biblical perspective, the man of sin. Okay, I believe in mind control on a global scale, that there are social engineers that are in positions of power and authority in education, commerce, film, that are literally manipulating the minds of the people to dumb them down in order to be able to control their minds, to gear them to accept what's coming in the NOO. Okay, I believe in these things, and because of that, some conservatives don't embrace that belief system. They're conservative, but they don't embrace that. Therefore, I'm independent from their train of thought, but I'm still a conservative on most of the conservative platform ideologies and worldviews. That's why I'm an independent conservative, okay? That's why, okay? I believe in things that maybe they don't believe in because I read books that perhaps they haven't gotten to yet, okay? I was believing in these things before I became a conservative. And then once I became a conservative in 2016, I just started building off of that. So a lot of things that I believe in as a conservative, I explain to them, what in the world? Ooh, that's deep. Yeah, that's something to think about. They never heard of it. Thus making, and some of them don't even agree with it. And going back to Candace Owens, if in fact she said this and this is true, then I would have to disagree as a conservative, an independent conservative. I would have to disagree with her assessment that these experiments conducted by Joseph Mengele were just propaganda. If that's true, which I highly think is not. I don't think she was taken out of context. But if it's true, yeah, I would have to disagree with her on that, being an independent conservative. So yeah, these things were done. And it's possible to be done, because if your heart is extremely dark, you're willing to go to the extremes to express that, okay? And the more yielded a person is to evil, evil does exist. And the more yielded a person is to evil, the more evil they're going to do, the more radical that evil is going to be. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. What do you guys think about this supposed agenda, if you will, or idea that Candace Owens, better word, idea that Candace Owens came up with, where this is just propaganda? Do you think she really said that? Do you think she's not believing in that or whatever? What do you think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.